Blair, and today I've got a book haul for you. I guess we will call this the Spring Book Haul of 2018. Recently, I've just given in to the deals that Barnes & Noble has had. Barnes & Noble just had a 3 for $30 hardcover sale. And I was like, of course I need to do that because that's an amazing deal. And I'm gonna just like, yes. So I've got a lot of books here for you today, so let's get right into it. First, I've got Before I Let Go by Marieke Nijkamp. This book is about a girl named Corey who has a best friend named Kira in a small Alaskan town where she grew up. But she moves away and has plans to come back, but before she's able to even make that trip back to her hometown, she finds out that her best friend Kira has committed suicide, or that's what people told her. So it's all about Corey going back to the small town and figuring out what happened. This book is definitely a mystery novel. You feel kind of like, what's gonna happen the whole time. I thought the writing style was okay. It wasn't my favorite book I've ever read, but it definitely kept me reading. I bought this at Barnes & Noble a long time ago. I read it in one day. It was like a Saturday read for me. It's pretty short, and I definitely recommend it. Next, I've got Frost Like Night by Sarah Rosh. So this book is about a girl named Mira who lives in this world where there's different countries, and there's season countries and rhythm countries. So the seasons are like winter, spring, summer, fall, and she's a part of the winter country, which got taken over recently, and she's a part of this ragtag group of people trying to keep the heir to the throne safe. There's a lot of plot twists, and I haven't read this series in a while. It's been a couple years because I read the second book right when it came out, so I had to wait for the third one, and I finally picked it up. This fantasy read is really, really cool. It's this whole new world, and I definitely recommend it. Next, I've got Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo. This is the third in the Grisha trilogy. I also talked about this in my fantasy recommendations. This book is about a girl named Alina who lives in the Grisha universe, which basically means she lives in this Russian type world. I view it as kind of like Russia in my mind. So she lives in a world where people have powers, and those people are called Grisha. She is a part of the second army, which is kind of, I guess, the normal people, because the first army is the Grisha, the people who have powers. And she lives in the country called Ravka. Ravka's been going through a lot lately because the Darkling is the leader of the first army, and there's a lot of sneaky things happening behind closed doors that we kind of find out about and uncover in this book. Alina is such an amazing perspective to read from. She's such a cool character, and I wanted to be more like her when I read this series. Keeping on with the theme of Leigh Bardugo, I've got Six of Crows. So I actually bought the paperback, and then I read it in one day, and then my mother bought me the hardcover because it's so pretty. And of course, I got the second one because these came in a little box, which was really cool. It was a really good deal, and this series is so good. So this is the Six of Crows duology. These books are in the same world as Siege and Storm, but it's a different story. It's about a ragtag group of misfits who go on this mission. Now, I'm not going to give you too much information because I honestly jumped in not knowing much, and I couldn't stop reading. I read this in one day and this in like 4 days. I couldn't stop living in this world. I couldn't stop thinking about the characters, and as I mentioned in my fantasy recommendations video, this book wrapped up the series, the duology, so beautifully. Next, I've got Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I have not read a Holly Black novel, but I'm really excited to. It's so beautiful, and the inside is so beautiful. I got this at Target because it was on sale, and I got it from the library, and I just wanted the physical copy. So this book is about a girl named Jude, and when she's younger, her and her 2 sisters are left alone. Her parents are murdered, and she has to go live in the court of Fairy. She wants to be taken seriously in this court, and she has to defy the prince. This book is a fantasy. That's all I know. It looks beautiful, it sounds beautiful, and I'm so excited to read it. Next, I've got Under Rose-Tainted Skies by Louise Gournall. This is a small contemporary that I needed to get. I've been really watching a lot of Emma books. If you're a booktuber or watch booktube, you know who I'm talking about. She's such an amazing vlogger, and her makeup is so pretty, and I just want to be her. She's given this book a lot of praise. It's about a girl who has OCD, but also agoraphobia, so she's stuck in her house. And when she's trying to grab groceries off the porch, a boy named Luke, her new next-door neighbor, catches her, and they start up a friendship. It sounds really interesting to me. I've been in a fantasy kick, but hearing about this book, I wanted to get this contemporary. The thing about contemporaries is that the payout is more emotional. It's not like fantasy where you read all these pages, all these books, and you're like, I just read a whole series. Contemporaries are very personal, I feel like. For example, I just finished Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow, and that book is a short book. It's a 10-hour audiobook, and I couldn't stop reading it, but it was so personal. It touched me in so many ways that I'm glad I read it, but I don't need any more. But I'm really excited to pick up Under Rose-Tainted Skies. It's probably going to be my next book, although I am planning on rereading All the Right Places by Jennifer Niven because it's one of my favorites and I need to be feeling some emotions right now. Next, I have The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. This is such a pretty book. I love it. It's so I can't wait to read it. The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue is about a boy named Monty who is going on a tour of Europe with one of his friends and his sister, and he's actually bisexual. Sounds really interesting to me. Adventure and friendship and some love. I'm so ready for it. And apparently the author of the Rebel Belle series, Rachel Hawkins, blurbed it. She said, "The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue is a grand tour all its own. Hilarious and romantic, adventurous and scandalous. Monty's adventures are just as delightful as Monty himself." I adored this book. I really liked Rebel Belle, and I'm actually planning on reading Miss Mayhem soon, so that's great that she blurbed it. Love it. I usually don't like people on the cover, but I am feeling this. I'm feeling it. And finally, my final book for you guys is A Quiet Kind of Thunder by Sarah Barnard. This book is about a girl named Steffi who is mute. She doesn't talk, but she ends up meeting a friend named Reese who is deaf, and they talk through sign language, and I love sign language. If you didn't know, I know sign language. It's one of my favorite languages. It's so beautiful and I love it. I picked this up because of the American Sign Language part of it, but also love story. Love story. It seems like it's gonna be fun and cute. It looks like there's some texting and email conversations in here, which is always fun. Actually, this reminds me a lot of Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover. If you've read this and need another recommendation, Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover. Are you ready? Books. Those were my spring books for you guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that it inspired you to pick up some of these books or any recommendations, and I will also link my fantasy recommendations below as well. And I'm really thinking of doing a contemporary recommendations video, so if you're interested in that, make sure to comment below as well. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!